Heartwarming moment. Young billionaire discovers poor girl and her baby in a snowstorm. His life changes forever. The Chicago snowstorm raged like a wild beast, burying the streets under a thick blanket of white. The wind screamed through the city, chilling to the bone anyone caught outside. Inside his luxury SUV, Jake, a 28-year-old tech mogul worth billions, navigated the blizzard as he headed home, the weight of his day's meetings lingering in his mind. Yet, as he slowed at a traffic light, a flicker of movement caught his eye. There, on the sidewalk, was Mia, a shivering young mother clothed in a tattered coat, cradling a tiny baby against the chill. In that moment, Jake's heart tightened. Memories flooded back of his own struggles growing up in a working-class neighborhood. He couldn't drive past her, not with that helpless baby in her arms. Without thinking, he pulled over. Opening the door, he invited her into the warmth of his vehicle. The contrast was stark. Inside, plush leather seats hugged him like a second home, while outside, the storm raged on, demanding compassion. As Mia settled in, tears glistened in her eyes. "Thank you," she stammered, her lips trembling. The baby, swaddled and fragile, let out a soft whimper. I just escaped an abusive situation. I'm trying to find a safe place." Her voice cracked like fragile ice. Jake listened intently, his heart aching with empathy as she spoke of fear and courage. With every word, an invisible bond formed. He recognized the fierce resilience in her spirit, mirroring the strength he had to cultivate amidst his own challenges. He could feel the pain and determination radiating from her, each confession drawing them closer together, but as he tried to help her in the days that followed, the luxury of his lifestyle collided harshly with Mia's reality. His friends whispered behind his back, their disdain palpable. "What does he see in her?" They scoffed, eyes rolling as their wealth shielded them from understanding. The more he helped, the more gossip swirled. Mia became a target, her struggles twisted into headlines that vilified her, not to mention the mockery that splintered his direct circles. "Guys, stop," Jake had said. "She's a survivor." A knot formed in his stomach, torn between loyalty to Mia and the weight of his elite status. The world around him wanted to dismiss her, just another poor girl seeking handouts. He faced a gut-wrenching decision: stand by Mia or preserve his financial security among the elite. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The backlash only fueled Jake's desire to help even more. He began building a community program for families like Mia, seeking to shine a light on the lived experiences overshadowed by wealth. This was his new calling. He was determined to fight against the stigma that sought to dehumanize those in need. Just when he was ready to unveil his initiative, the phone rang late one night. The news was disturbing, putting everything he and Mia had built on the line. Would he stand with her, unafraid of the judgment from society? Or would he crumble under the pressure, letting the prejudices of the elite push them apart? The future was uncertain, and the next step he took could change everything. Jake stared at the phone in disbelief, his pulse racing. The image of Mia, vulnerable yet fierce, flashed in his mind. How could an ordinary phone call threaten everything they fought for? Taking a deep breath, he answered. "Mr. Alexander, it's Sabrina from the PR agency." The voice on the other end sounded urgent. "We need to talk about the press release regarding your charitable initiative. It's causing a stir." A stir, indeed. Jake had anticipated backlash, but the magnitude was overwhelming. Headlines were already distorting his intentions, a storm of negativity brewing around his name. "What are they saying?" he asked, bracing himself. "Critics believe you're exploiting Mia's story. They're painting you as a rich guy trying to buy social karma," Sabrina explained. Your friends, they're jumping ship. That same knot tightened in his stomach. The circle he once thought was supportive now felt like a prison, trapping him with expectations he was desperate to break free from. How had things gotten so twisted? I can't let this happen, he said firmly, determination rising. We need to refocus the narrative. This isn't about me. It's about helping families like Mia's. Silence lingered for a moment. Then, Sabrina replied cautiously, it's going to take more than charity work to change their minds. You need to address the perceptions head-on. Then let us do just that, Jake said, a fire igniting within him. I'll include Mia in the next press conference. Let the world hear her story. A hesitance echoed through the line before Sabrina finally answered, are you sure that's a good idea? It'll draw intense scrutiny on her. Jake could feel the weight of that concern, yet he also felt a sense of growing resolve. She deserves a voice. I won't let them silence her anymore. After hanging up, he felt a surge of adrenaline. He knew he was putting Mia in the spotlight, and with every step, the fear of losing everything lurked in the shadows. But could he risk losing Mia too? The next day, as Jake walked into his office, he was met by a handful of cold glances and whispered remarks. His co-workers' disdain was palpable, each hasty judgment like a dagger aimed at his resolve. But he powered through, focusing on the goal ahead. Later that afternoon, he met Mia at the community center, their newly formed safe haven for struggling families. She was in the middle of organizing toys for the children, her face lighting up when she saw him. But as they sat together in an office corner, the weight of his decision hung thick in the air. Mia, I want you to share your story, he began, searching her eyes for any sign of hesitation. At the press conference. It'll help others understand. Her expression shifted, uncertainty tightening her features. Jake, I appreciate your kindness, but what if they twist my words? What if they come after my baby? He reached across the table, taking her hands in his. They might, but I'll be right by your side. You're not alone in this. Mia took a deep breath, her gaze firming up. It's just so scary. I don't want to be judged again. What if, together, we can turn that judgment into awareness? He suggested. Your voice can inspire so many. You've endured so much, the world needs to hear your strength. The quiet that followed was laced with hope and fear. As Mia pondered, Jake's heart pounded in his chest. Was he right to put her in such a vulnerable position, all for the sake of change? Would his actions tear them apart, or bring them closer together? Mia's silence weighed heavily as she stared into his eyes, searching for reassurance amidst the uncertainty. Finally, she nodded slowly, the flicker of bravery illuminating her sadness. Okay, I'll do it. Jake felt a rush of relief but knew it was just the beginning. Their lives would soon be under a microscope, and every second brought them closer to the truth, one that could either break them or forge a bond stronger than steel. As he scheduled the press conference, he realized this was only the first test, a test of loyalty, of love, and of resilience. With Mia by his side, the stakes were higher than ever. But just as hope began to grab hold, another buzz from his phone shattered the moment. Jake glanced at the screen, heart sinking at the name, a contact he had tried to forget, the very man who threatened Mia's safety, her past lurking closer than he had anticipated. What would he do when faced with the ghosts of her past? Jake's heart raced as he stared at the screen, each pulse echoing the urgency within him. The name on his phone was a reminder of all the darkness that had followed Mia, Tommy, her estranged ex, a ghost lurking at the edges of their new life. The memories came flooding back, the late-night arguments, the fear in Mia's eyes, the way she had fought to reclaim her own narrative. He took a deep breath, attempting to steady himself. The last thing Mia needed was to feel the weight of her past crashing into their present. He quickly pressed the button to answer, mustering every ounce of calm he could find. What do you want, Tommy? A low chuckle echoed through the line. Jake, my favorite charity case. We need to talk. I hear you've been using Mia's story to boost your little fame project. Anger surged in Jake. This isn't about me. It's about helping people, something you wouldn't understand. Tommy's laughter sent chills down Jake's spine. Right, helping. Or is it all just part of your pathetic plan to look like a savior? Don't forget, Mia's still connected to me. You want to put her on display? I can make things very uncomfortable for her. Jake tightened his grip on the phone. You wouldn't dare. He could feel the weight of their conversation like a boulder pressing against his chest. Try me, Tommy replied, each word dripping with malice. Mia won't say a word when I come knocking. Trust me, I know all her weaknesses. You made a mistake bringing her into this, and I plan to make it known. The call disconnected, leaving an oppressive silence hanging in the air. Jake's thoughts spiraled in turmoil. He couldn't allow Tommy to intimidate Mia again. She was finally finding her voice. He knew what needed to be done, but the echo of Tommy's threats made him falter. Hours passed without clarity, and as night fell, Jake found himself pacing his apartment. He couldn't let fear dictate their choices. He was a fighter, and Mia was stronger than anyone he knew. It was time to gather allies, to build a shield around them. He picked up his phone and began texting Sabrina, brainstorming on how to leverage the press conference to not only elevate Mia's voice but also ensure her safety. Just as he pressed send, another message flashed across his screen. Mia, I need to meet. Urgent. He felt a mix of anxiety and protectiveness. Quickly, he called her. Hey, what's wrong? I just received a strange message, she said, her voice trembling. It's from Tommy. He says he's coming for me. I don't know what to do. Panic blended with determination. Mia, listen to me. You're not alone in this. We'll figure it out, you and me, together. Really? But what if he shows up while I'm out? I can't let him near Emily. Her voice cracked at the mention of their daughter. Jake could practically feel the fear emanating from her. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Let's meet at the community center. I'll keep you safe. As he drove, urgency filled his veins. He replayed their last conversation, the spark of courage in Mia's eyes when she agreed to share her story. They needed that strength now more than ever. When he arrived, he found Mia pacing just outside the entrance, her worry overshadowing her brave facade. As she saw him, her eyes filled with both relief and terror. We need a plan, he said urgently, taking her hands in his. We'll expose Tommy. He doesn't have power over you anymore. You're not the woman he once controlled. Mia searched his eyes, uncertainty flickering behind her resolve. What if it backfires? What if it's worse? He squeezed her hands tighter, grounding her. You've faced worse. Remember? Together, we can turn this around. Trust me. But just as her nod signaled agreement, the warm glow of resolve was dimmed by an icy dread that filled the air. Someone was watching them from a distance, a shadow lurking just beyond the light. Jake's heart pounded as he turned to see a familiar figure slipping back into the night. Was it Tommy? They couldn't wait any longer. The storm was here, and they needed to prepare for battle. What would they sacrifice in order to finally confront the demons haunting Mia's past? Mia's breath hitched in her throat as the shadow slipped away. Panic gripped her. Did you see that? She whispered, scanning the empty street. She squeezed Jake's hand tightly, a signal of fear mixed with a desperate need for security. Jake, feeling the tremor in her grip, tried to project confidence he didn't entirely feel. Stay close to me, he urged, looking around. We need to get somewhere safe. They stepped inside the dimly lit community center, the smell of stale coffee and old wood greeting them like an old friend. The walls were adorned with posters of past events, vibrant colors contrasting with the creeping shadows. Let us go to the back room, Jake suggested. It was less exposed, an area they could use for a private conversation. Mia nodded but didn't speak, her eyes darting around, still alert to any movement. They made their way quietly down the hall, but as soon as they entered the small room, Jake locked the door behind them. It was a cramped space, filled with mismatched furniture and dusty shelves. But it felt like a sanctuary, a temporary fort against the chaos outside. "Jake, what if he really does come for us?" she asked, her voice cracking. "I can't face him again. Not after everything." "Mia, listen," he said firmly, darting a deep, reassuring look into her eyes. "We're not going to let him intimidate you. You're stronger now than you've ever been. You have me, and you have Emily. We're a family, and we'll fight for our lives if we have to." Tears glistened in her eyes. "What if he reaches her? What if he tries to hurt you?" Jake leaned closer, wiping away a tear that began to fall. "He won't. I promise you, I won't let that happen. We'll figure this out. You're not alone." Mia swallowed her fear and straightened up a bit, the weight of his words wrapping around her heart like a warm blanket. "You really think if we stand together, it can work?" A heavy silence fell between them. There was a flicker of hope, but the shadow of doubt loomed larger than ever. Jake took a moment, pacing slightly while striking his fists together, trying to shake off the anxiety. "Let us think about what we can do. We can't let him control us anymore. This is our time to take back what he stole: your voice, your power." "Okay," she said, her resolve starting to build as he spoke. "But first, we need to secure Emily. She's the most important thing." Just then, Jake's phone buzzed, slicing through the tension in the room. He glanced at it, and his stomach dropped. It was a message from Sabrina, but the content was alarming. "I think Tommy is onto us. I saw him lurking outside the press office earlier. Mia, we need to move. Now," Jake said urgently. "Where?" she asked, heart racing anew. "Back to your place. It's better guarded, and I can think more clearly without the pressure of being watched. We'll set up a plan there. Gather the support we need." As Mia nodded hesitantly, Jake felt a sudden surge of determination. Just then, a loud crash came from the hallway, followed by hurried footsteps. "Mia!" Jake shouted, adrenaline coursing through him. "Go!" she cried, eyes wide with terror. Jake pushed her towards the back exit, ready to protect at all costs. They couldn't let fear rule their lives any longer. They had come too far to falter now. As they stumbled out into the night, hearts racing, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Shadows loomed heavy, and he knew the fight ahead would be tougher than either of them could imagine. "Can we really do this?" Mia asked, her voice a mix of fear and defiance. A flicker of light from a passing car illuminated the path ahead, revealing their next steps. "Together," Jake replied, firm in his conviction. "We'll stand together." But as they turned the corner, an unexpected figure blocked their path. It was Tommy, smirking in the darkness. "Going somewhere, Mia?" he taunted, the menace in his voice sending chills down their spines. What would they do now that the final confrontation was right in front of them? Mia's heart raced as she faced Tommy, his smug expression cutting through her rising panic like a knife. She felt Jake tense beside her, his body instinctively shifting protectively in front of her. "Tommy," Jake said, trying to maintain an even tone, "you need to leave us alone. We're not going to let you intimidate us anymore." "Oh, how brave!" Tommy jeered, his eyes glinting with malice. "But you're in over your heads, kid. You think you can just run away from me? I've always been right here, lurking in the shadows, waiting for you to slip up." Mia's mind raced. She could feel Tommy's anger emanating like heat from a fire. She clutched Jake's arm, desperately searching for a way out of this nightmare. They were trapped. I don't want any trouble, she finally said, her voice steadier than she felt. The silence that followed was thick. Tommy's smirk wavered slightly, replaced with a sudden intensity. Trouble? You already have it, Mia. You can't escape the reality of what I am. I know everything. Jake stepped forward, fists clenched. What do you want? If it's me, take me and leave her out of this. Tommy laughed, the sound cold and empty. Oh, Jake, you're missing the point. This isn't just about you. It's about Mia, your precious girl. She'll always be in my grasp. I own her. Shut up. Mia shouted, surprising even herself. She stepped out from behind Jake and stood her ground, glaring defiantly at Tommy. You don't own me. You never did, and you never will. I am not the girl you once controlled. Not anymore. The ferocity of her words hit like a shockwave. Tommy's face darkened, and for a fleeting moment, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. Cute speech, but let's see how strong that bravado is when push comes to shove, he shot back, stepping closer, invading her space. Jake moved instinctively, positioning himself. Back off. He yelled, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Tommy halted, a glimmer of surprise flickering across his features. It was a moment of stillness between them, each party weighing the other's resolve. Mia felt the weight of that pause, her heart raced, but in that instant, a fire ignited within her. She turned to Jake, seeing the determination in his eyes, and together they looked back at Tommy. Together, she said softly yet firmly, collecting her courage. The words hung in the air, both a promise and a declaration. But Tommy wasn't done yet. You think you're clever, don't you? It's adorable. But let me tell you something, you're both dead wrong if you think you can face me together. I have resources, allies. Mia swallowed hard. And I have something you'll never understand. I have friends, family, and the drive to fight for what's mine. The weight of her past began to shift, and for the first time, she felt the power it gave her. Tommy scoffed. That's cute. But what happens when they're gone? When I take everything from you? As he stepped even closer, something clicked inside Mia. No more fear. No more second-guessing. You might think you control everything, Tommy, but you're underestimating the bond we share. I'm not afraid of you anymore. And with that, she took a bold step forward, the distance between them erased. Jake, filled with urgency, earned her gaze and slowly nodded. They were in this together, and nothing could weaken that bond. Let us go, he whispered fiercely, as Tommy blinked, caught off guard. Mia's heart thundered in her chest. They turned to leave, but she knew it wouldn't be this easy. Tommy would follow. He wouldn't let them walk away without a fight. The night felt colder, the shadows deeper as they stepped away from Tommy and what he represented. They had ignited a fire, and there was no turning back. But just moments later, the rush of dread washed over her again. Could they really escape? Would he truly allow them to reclaim their lives, or was this confrontation just the beginning of something bigger? As they sprinted through the darkness, an echo of Tommy's laughter trailed behind them, haunting and ominous, like a storm waiting to break. Where would they go next, and what consequences? Would Tommy impose now that he had a taste of their defiance? The cold air bit at Mia's skin as she and Jake dashed through the dimly lit streets, their footsteps echoing against the asphalt. Each stride felt heavier, the weight of Tommy's threat lingering like a shadow at their backs. It wasn't just fear that propelled them, it was the urgency to find safety, to put distance between them and the darkness that Tommy represented. Where do we go now? Mia gasped, the chill seeping into her lungs. She wanted to be brave, but the uncertainty gnawed at her insides. Let's south head to my place, Jake replied, his voice steady despite the rapid beating of his heart. It's close, and we can figure things out there. She nodded. The thought of being near him, of having a refuge for just a moment, brought some comfort. They turned down a narrow side street, the headlights of passing cars illuminating their determined faces for brief moments. Suddenly, Mia felt a warmth in her hand. Jake had reached for her, their fingers interlocked, creating a connection between them stronger than the fear chasing them. As they ran, Mia couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She glanced over her shoulder, half expecting to see Tommy lurking in the shadows, but there was only the orange glow of streetlights and the emptiness of the night. Still, the paranoia bubbled in her veins. She could almost hear his laughter teasing them from afar. Would they never be free? Do you think he'll come after us? Mia asked, breathless. Each word felt like a weight she had to carry. Jake's grip tightened around her hand, his determination clear. We won't let him. We can protect each other. We'll make sure he doesn't get to us. His sincerity washed over her like a wave. She believed him. She had to. They turned the last corner and hurried toward his apartment building. The familiar sight brought both relief and a sense of foreboding. Once inside, they would be temporarily safe, but the question loomed: how would they deal with Tommy? As they reached the lobby, Mia paused, suddenly overwhelmed by emotion. Jake, what if this isn't enough? What if he finds us? He took a step closer, peeling her fears away with the warmth of his presence. We'll fight back. Together. We'll call the police if we have to. He can't keep this up forever. We'll find a way to end it. Mia felt a flicker of hope spark inside her. Maybe they could turn the tables. Maybe Tommy had underestimated them. They pushed into the stairwell, climbing the steps two at a time, their breaths coming fast. When they finally reached his floor, Jake scanned the hallway. It's clear, he said, his voice low, but the tension was palpable. They stepped into his apartment, the door clicking shut behind them like a protective barrier. The room was small but cozy, filled with memories of laughter and deeper conversations. Mia inhaled deeply, the scent of Jake's aftershave mixing with the faint aroma of old books and takeout containers. This was a sanctuary, yet her heart thudded anxiously as they locked the door. What now? She asked, rubbing her arms as a chill settled over her. Now we figure out our next move, Jake replied, moving toward his desk where a laptop sat open. Tommy won't stop until he gets what he wants. But maybe we can dig into some of his weaknesses. There must be something. Mia nodded, the gears in her mind starting to turn. They needed to gather information, find out what Tommy might be hiding and how they could use it against him. But before she could voice her thoughts, there was a loud knock, making both of their hearts jump. The sound filled the quiet apartment like an explosion, and panic rose in her throat. Who is it? Jake called out, his eyes wide with concern. Jake! Open up! A voice shouted from the other side. It was familiar: Sarah, one of Jake's closest friends. Shoo! What if it's him? Mia whisper shouted, grasping Jake's arm. But he hesitated only a moment. I can't leave her out there. Not now. He cautiously opened the door, revealing Sarah's worried face. What is going on? I saw Tommy back at the bar, and he looked furious. I had to check on you. As Sarah stepped inside, the fear in her voice mirrored Mia's own. They were on the brink of turning their fight back on Tommy, but now they had to contend with the repercussions of their bold stand. Mia swallowed hard. Was their fight just beginning? Or were they stepping into the trap that would pull them in deeper? And the question hung in the air: how would they gather the strength to face Tommy now that he was at the edge of their lives, ready to push back? Sarah's eyes darted around the apartment, taking in the tense atmosphere, as if she could slice through the anxiety in the air. We need a plan, she said, her voice low but urgent. Tommy isn't just angry, he's dangerous. We can't underestimate him. Mia's heart sank at the thought. She had seen the wildness in Tommy's eyes when he was threatened, the desperation of a cornered animal. What if he shows up here? Mia whispered, shivering despite the warmth of the room. Jake stepped closer to her again, his presence a rock against the torrent of fears that rushed through her. He won't know where we are. This is our safe place for now. But we need to make sure it stays that way. Mia nodded slowly, letting Jake's confidence fill the cracks of her uncertainty. Sarah moved to the coffee table, waking the laptop from its sleep. Let us see if we can find anything online about Tommy past incidents, charges, anything. They crowded around the screen, every click intensifying the tension. Mia felt a rush of adrenaline as they delved deeper into an unsettling world. Articles pulled up of Tommy's reputation, bar fights, harassment claims, and whispers about his ties to dangerous people. Each name and detail had the power to tighten the noose around their situation, yet it also ignited a flicker of resolve in her chest. If we can find something that proves he has gone too far, we can take it to the authorities, Sarah suggested, her eyes scanning the screen. And maybe even get a restraining order, Jake added, his fingers tapping nervously on the desk. Mia's heart fluttered at the thought of having real power over their situation. They weren't just going to sit back and wait for Tommy to make his next move. They were going to fight back, but just then, a vibration rattled through the apartment. A message. Mia's phone, lying face down on the table, lit up with one word that sent a chill down her spine. Tommy. Don't read it, Sarah said instantly, knowing Mia too well. It might be a trap. I have to, Mia replied, her voice still trembling with the tension that filled the room. She lifted her phone carefully, her thumb hovering over the notification. When she finally read the message, it felt as if the ground beneath them shook. He knows where we are, or he thinks he does. What? How? Jake glared at the phone, aching to snatch it from her hand, to confront whatever darkness lurked behind it. He said he's coming for me, she managed to croak out, her heart racing with a mix of fear and fury. He thinks I'll run. Sarah took a deep breath, glancing at Jake. What should we do? We can't let him in here. Jake's jaw clenched. We'll call the police. We need to alert them that he's coming after us. And then he hesitated, his eyes meeting Mia's. We need to prepare ourselves. We have to show him we're not scared. The air was thick, each moment stretching out like eternity. Mia's mind raced. A part of her wanted to flee, to hide away in the safety of the apartment. But another part, one fueled by a fierce determination, knew they couldn't let Tommy dictate their lives. As she looked at Jake, the determination in his resolve sparked something within her. They were more than just two people caught in fear, they were a unit. Together, she said softly, but with growing strength. We'll face him together. We won't let him win. Just then, another round of heavy knuckles hammered against the door, shattering the fragile moment of unity. Panic gripped them again, a reminder of the chaos waiting just beyond the barrier of their sanctuary. Open up, Jake. I know you're in there. The voice was unmistakable, laced with menace. Mia's breath caught in her throat. Tommy had found them. As they exchanged glances, understanding the fight ahead, one thought echoed in Mia's mind. What would happen if they stood their ground? Would it lead to liberation or to devastation? Mia's heart raced as the pounding on the door echoed in her ears. Every beat was sharp and frantic, a reminder that their safe haven was teetering on the edge of chaos. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in, and for a moment, her breath hitched in panic. Stay quiet, Jake whispered, his voice steady despite the tremor of urgency. He moved swiftly but silently, ushering Sarah back away from the door. Mia could see the determination etched into his features, a silent promise that they would protect each other. Another loud bang reverberated through the apartment, sending shivers down Mia's spine. You better open up, Jake. We can settle this like adults. Tommy's voice was taunting now, dripping with a twisted kind of confidence. He was playing with them, and the very idea sent a chill through her. Why is he doing this? Sarah's voice trembled as she edged closer to Mia. Because he thinks he can intimidate us, Mia replied, forcing strength into her own voice. He doesn't understand we're done being scared. Mia, listen, Jake interrupted, turning to face her, there's a back exit. We could leave now. We can call the cops when we're safe. No. Her voice was firm, almost surprising her. We need to confront this. We need to show him we're not hiding. The look in Jake's eyes flashed uncertainly. But you're not thinking straight. This isn't like standing up to a bully in school. This is Tommy. He's unpredictable. Then let's make him see we're not just going to roll over. Mia felt herself heating up with emotion. The fear was there, but it was laced with a rising courage that seemed to rise within her with each passing moment. Think about how he'll react if we leave, Sarah chimed in, her voice shaking a little less. He'll go wild. He might even come after us. We can't let him think we're weak. Mia glanced swiftly at Jake, who struggled with her defiance, caught between caution and the boldness she had ignited. Then, they all jumped at the loud crack of wood as the doorframe splintered under the weight of another brutal knock. Open the damn door. You think you can hide? Tommy's threat was palpable, wrapping around them like a noose. No, Mia said again, a small fire igniting in her chest. He doesn't get to control our fear anymore. We're not backing down. Not now. Jake finally nodded, the barriers of his worry melting away. Fine. We hold our ground. But we need a plan, we need to get something to defend ourselves, just in case. Sarah rummaged through the drawers, pulling out the kitchen knives and a heavy empty vase. This will have to do, she said resolutely, gripping the knife like a lifeline. Mia grabbed one too, realizing that readying for a fight brought with it a sense of solidarity. We're together in this. The heavy thud of Tommy's fist slammed against the door again. You're wasting your time. Open up. They stared at the door, breathless and united. Mia felt a resolve wash over her. This ends now. Let's make him see that he's the one who's outnumbered. As they centered themselves, poised for the confrontation, an unexpected sound reached them from just outside. A scream, sharp and piercing. Mia's stomach dropped. That wasn't Tommy's voice. What was that? Sarah's eyes widened with alarm, glancing toward the door. Jake tightened his grip on the knife, ears straining for another sound. Seems like we aren't alone. Mia's heart pounded for another reason now. Something else was out there, something more than just Tommy's rage. The realization lodged deeper in her throat, and uncertainty crept back in. Who else was involved in this chaos? Even as fear gripped her once more, something stronger was growing, a fierce, protective loyalty. We need to go, she said quickly. If someone else is out there. But just as she spoke, the door shuddered hard against the next hit, cracking more of the wood along the frame. The moment of truth was upon them. What would come crashing through that door with each passing second? Would they be ready for the fight ahead? With pulse racing and breath held tight, the door shuddered violently once more, and Mia realized they were about to find out who or what would ultimately control their fate. The door trembled under another brutal assault, and Mia could feel her heart unspooling with every violent thud. She glanced at Jake, who held the knife like a lifeline. His jaw was set, eyes narrowed in focus. He was ready, but the uncertainty crackled in the air. Mia, we can't just stand here. We need to act. Sarah's voice trembled, blending urgency with fear. Okay, but we need to be smart about this, Mia replied, her voice surprisingly calm despite the terror clawing at her chest. If we're going to confront him, we need a strategy, something that'll catch him off guard. What felt like hours compressed into seconds as they listened to Tommy's taunts from the other side of the door. Each promising word, laced with mockery, pounded in rhythm with the frantic beating of Mia's heart. You think you're brave? You think you're ready for me? Just wait till I come in. I'll show you what real fear looks like. Mia took a deep breath, trying to match her heartbeat to the thuds outside. What if we force him to come in? We can prepare a surprise for him. Sarah's brows knitted together. What do you mean? He'll overpower us. No, he won't, Mia countered. We have the element of surprise. If we can lure him inside, it might change the game. Jake's expression shifted, a flicker of admiration igniting in his eyes. You're right. We can use that vase to trip him or distract him. He won't expect us to fight back. Mia could sense the shift. They needed to pull together, as tight as they'd ever been. Okay, Sarah, take position by the end of the hallway. When I shout, you throw the vase right at him. Jake, you'll go to my side. We have to act fast. As they took their places, Mia felt the weight of their impending confrontation. There was no going back now. The next thud on the door was louder, more forceful. This was Tommy's last push. The door began to splinter, wood crumbling like chalk dust. Mia's gut twisted with a cold mixture of fear and anticipation. On three, she whispered, her hand clutching the knife tighter, its cool handle grounding her. 1, 2, 3. She lunged at the door just as it broke free, the splintered wood sliding open to reveal Tommy's furious face. His eyes widened in shock when he saw Mia standing there, knife brandished defiantly at him. Jake sprang into action, moving like lightning. He pushed the vase toward Tommy, who stumbled backward, surprise etched across his face. Sarah yelled, throwing the vase with all her might. It soared through the air and smashed into Tommy's shoulder, causing him to lose his balance. Mia lunged forward, driven by adrenaline, and slashed in a quick arc with the knife. It was a wild swing, and she felt the swish of air and nearly lost her grip. Tommy's reaction was instantaneous as he snarled and pivoted, ready to retaliate. But even in that split second, she saw the panic in his eyes. It was enough to embolden her. She could sense Jake moving to her side, backing her up. They were a wall against his fury. You thought we were scared, didn't you? Mia shouted, her voice ringing clear with defiance. Before Tommy could respond, the heavy thud of footsteps echoed from down the hall, and another scream pierced the tension. A second figure appeared just outside their apartment, a stranger, a woman, bloodied and terrified. Mia, help! The woman's voice was desperate. The sight of her drew Mia's attention, and for a fleeting moment, her focus wavered. What in the world was happening? Before she could register the next move, Tommy surged forward, determination and malice written across his face. Mia, don't lose focus. Jake yelled, snapping her back to reality. As she turned back, the overwhelming emotions surged. A mixture of duty, fear, and loyalty washed over her. There was no turning back now. Get back! Mia shouted, raising her knife as the world around her spun with uncertainty. She didn't know who this new woman was or how she fit into the chaos, but she did know one thing: they had to fight for their freedom together. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Mia stood ready to protect not just themselves, but now, someone who was vulnerable, lost, and needed saving. What was happening? Who was this woman? Would they all survive the onslaught that was Tommy? The next moments would decide everything. The chaotic intensity of the moment coiled tightly in Mia's stomach. Fear trickled down her spine, but it didn't stop her, it fueled her resolve. The stranger was frightened, blood smeared on her cheek, but there was something familiar in her eyes. Help, she cried out again, her voice cracking under the weight of desperation. Mia traded a frantic glance with Jake. They had to handle Tommy, but this girl's frightened gaze tugged at something deep within her heart. We can't abandon her, Mia said with urgency, trying to push fear aside and focus. Keep your guard up, Jake instructed, positioning himself between Mia and Tommy. His back was rigid, a shield against the very real danger that was closing in on them. Tommy laughed, a cruel sound that bounced off the walls of the hallway. What's this? A fairy tale? You three think you can save each other? The stranger took a step forward, trembling, and every instinct in Mia screamed to move toward her, to protect her. We need you to trust us, Mia spoke firmly, her voice steadying as she reached out a hand. We can help you, but we cannot allow him to break through this door. Yeah, that's adorable, isn't it? Tommy scoffed, adjusting his stance as he eyed Mia. You think you're in control? You've got no idea who you're dealing with. But Mia did know. She felt it in the way fear had gripped her life for too long. In that moment, something changed, a spark ignited between them. The girl, their silent ally, looked between Mia and the approaching darkness of Tommy. I'm ready, she said, voice trembling yet fierce. I want to go back to him. Mia felt her heart swell. Yes. They could be strong together. Let us go, team. She shouted, feeling charged by the unity building around them. On the count of 3, we flank him. 3. Jake shouted, bolstering her spirit. They surged forward, and as they moved, Mia felt the weight of that moment, like a meteor breaking through the sky. Nothing would stop them now. The stranger rushed to Mia's side, wary but determined, while Jake stood tall just inches away, cementing their collective resolve. As Tommy lunged, his surprise faltered the moment he registered their united front. There was no longer just one opponent, there was a wall of strength formed by the three of them, standing for one another against the storm of violence that loomed. Get back! Mia shouted, swinging her knife to distract him while Jake moved in fast. With a rush of adrenaline flowing through her, she felt the fearless heart of a warrior taking form within her. Tommy stumbled just enough to give rise to the chance they needed. Sarah, keeping close watch of their surroundings, pulled the stranger behind her as Jake and Mia charged. Together! Mia yelled, and they all pushed forward, closing the distance with unity. The world became raw instinct, movement, and the pulse of courage driving them to step right into the heart of everything that had once terrified them. Enough of this! Tommy shouted, but his bravado faltered as he faced the trio coupling their power against him. Desperation morphed into desperation etched across his features as he realized they were standing firm. Together, they were unyielding. Mia stepped forward, heart pounding with purpose. You don't own me anymore. You're not a shadow I carry, but a lesson I've learned. With fury coursing through Mia, she lunged, her knife connecting with the air just inches from him. He recoiled, disrespect igniting into panic. The tension was thick, creating an atmosphere ripe for their final push. Get out of our lives! Jake roared, moving alongside Mia, an unwavering force of protective love that echoed her own burgeoning strength. That last surge of courage sent Tommy stumbling into a wall of stairs, the realization that he was facing more than mere survival. The slivers of a bond stronger than rancor were forming between them. As Tommy glanced wildly around, Mia's heart soared. They had broken the cycle. We're not living our lives in fear anymore. Sarah cried, and the resolve spurred a wave of confidence through all of them. They were a community in this, a family built on scars and strength. Then, the echo of sirens pierced the chaotic night, offering a salve to the fray. Tommy's eyes grew wide with disbelief. You did this! He snarled, recognizing that the tides of fate were shifting against him. Yes. We did. Mia declared. And we'll keep fighting. With every ounce of strength she could muster, she thrust the knife's blade toward him one last time, a symbolic gesture of breaking free. It spoke volumes. She was no longer the girl he once scared, she had transformed into a force she never knew resided within her. The sound of approaching police cars rendered Tommy disarmed. With every second, the atmosphere became charged and electric, vibrant with hope and resilience. And just like that, the fight evolved from survival to liberation. Mia's heart soared with newfound purpose as she felt the frightened girl stand firm beside her, different yet the same. They were much stronger together than apart. Amidst the chaos, she squeezed Jake's hand one more time. They had made it through the night, the real battle was now a beginning, not an end. Together, they would build something meaningful, and carve out their future, a life defined not by Tommy's darkness but by the power of love and community. Mia took a deep breath, raised her chin high and witnessed the dawn of promise breaking on the horizon. It was so bright. It wasn't an end, it was an entirely new beginning. Now, dear reader, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.